Hi, I'm Don, and this is The Hobbyist Geek. Welcome back, y'all. Today we're going to be continuing with the ROKR Seahorse Barque. Last time around, we got all of this done. Let's see what we can do today. Let's just get into it. Alrighty, so here are the parts that we're going to need for the first phase of step 5. That's right, we completed all the way through step 4 last time. For step 5, to kick things off, we're going to take C46B. We're going to place it basically like this, and you've got G2 here, and I don't know if that's showing up. There's a little arrow right in the middle. That arrow has to face forward like that. I'm basically going to lay it over so that it covers all the windows. Let's see here. I'm not sure. Yeah, no, it's definitely this way. So it covers all the windows. And you've got 4 of these C24 pieces that are going to push through. Look at that. Bear in mind, G2 here is paper, so be very gentle with it. And we're going to come around this way. We have C33 here, which will go onto the top 2 tabs. Whoops, skipping a step again. Got E42A, and these are going to push right through these holes here and here. There we go, that's better. Now we're going to take C33 and we'll push it right onto these top 2 pegs, and C48 will go onto the bottom 2. Look at that. That looks spectacular. Now we've got 2 of these E70 pieces here. You might notice there's a little tab that comes off of one end. Those are going to go into this hole and this hole. Okay, should look like that when you're done. That is a very tight fit. So be very gentle as you're pushing it through. You don't want to crack any of the wood really. And then we have 8 of these E34s here. And all of them are going to go into these little peg holes right here with this rounded part here on the bottom. So they should all look a bit like that when you're done. Let me go ahead and get the rest in. All right, should look like that when you're done. And we have completed the first phase of step 5, and we can move on. Here are the pieces we need for the next phase of step 5. Not a lot there. We're going to kick things off with E36. Notice that one of the angled ends has that extra slot in it right there. That's going to go towards the front here of the ship. And there are 3 holes, 3 pegs. Should just fit together quite nice. There we go, just like that. Next up, we've got C41 right here, which should go right about here. And C43, which should go right about here. And you're going to want to take 5 more of the screws, and they're going to come in from behind to hold these in place. So let's go ahead and get that done. You can clearly see right here 2 of the screw holes. The third for this is over here. The one up top is only got 2 screw holes, and they're kind of buried. One is here and one is here. Okay, but still fairly self-explanatory, so let's go ahead and make this happen. I'm sorry, the arrows had me confused in the instructions. You're not screwing them in from behind, you're screwing them in from the front. Just the screws look like the arrows and the arrows look like screws. The way they've got it drawn out. That's okay. At least I caught it before we tried to make this happen, right? All right. There we go. That looks gorgeous. Let's see what's next. All right, we're gonna kick off step 6 here, and it looks like we're building the exact same thing for the other side. So we're gonna start with C46A. We've got another G2 here, which will slide on here, just like so. We got 4 more of these C24s to push through, just like that. Now we've got E42B here, which will hop right on here, just like that. C33, C48, 2 of these E70s, and 8 of the E34s. All right, there we go. First phase complete. Let's see what phase 2 has. And as I'm sure you've all guessed, it's the same pieces from step 5. So we'll kick things off with E36 here, right in there, just like that. And then we will screw on C43 and C41, just as we did on the other side. And there we go. Step 6 is now complete, and now we have 2. Let's see what's next. All right, here are the parts that we're going to need to kick off step 7. And first thing we're going to do is pull out C44 here. We're going to need 4 of these D15 pieces and 2 of these D14. So first thing we're going to do is put this into D14, D15 into D14. Just like that. And then this will go onto this side, just like that. And then we will repeat the effort for the other side. There you go, just like that. And with that in place, we're going to take G1, and those 4 holes will go on the 4 pegs we just created. Just like that. And then we are going to cover all of this with D1. Just like that. Now we've got these 3 holes here, and you're going to need 3 of these D9 pieces, and the short end is going to go into those holes. Just like that. And next up will be D11. 3 holes at the top, 3 big pegs. I'm sure you can figure out where they go. Look at that. Next up will be D16 here. right onto those same pegs, just like that. And you'll notice there's two little holes, one on either side. Those are for these tiny little pieces here. These are D2s. Just like that. You might notice that I have the D2s angled so that it looks like we've got a complete semicircle here. So, not sure that that's really necessary, but that is how it shows in the instructions, so that is how I'm doing it. All right, that ends phase 1 of step 7. Let's go on to phase 2. Alrighty, here's what we need for the next phase. We're going to bring this back out, and we're going to take D4 here, and that's going to go on those 5 pegs. Perfect. We're going to follow that up with D10 here, also on those same 5 pegs. All right, look at that. Next up is going to be fun. This is C31. Now, it's going to kind of roll across the top here. These 3 pieces here are going to go through that slot. And these large things are going to hook onto these tiny little hooks here. So, let's see if we can do it without breaking anything. All right, there we go. Look at that. It actually looks very, very nice. I like it. Then we're going to take a D3 here and a B9. And you'll notice there's a large hole here, and there are 2 types of pegs, a large one and a small one. It is very hard to tell in the instructions, but I'm guessing the large one will go into this hole right here. It seems to fit. Just like that. And this small one is going to go into this hole right here that's got the little triangle next to it. There we go, just like that. The top is going to come up and inside right there. Okay? So now you got to do the same thing with another D3 and another B9 on this side. There we go, look at that. Next up, okay, we've got 3 of these C47s. Those will go on the tops of these, just like that, making some nice lanterns. And we're going to finish it off with D25 here. You can see there's 2 little pegs, one on either side. Hope that's focused enough. And inside here there are 2 little slots. And this is going to fill the gap between them. So it should look like that when you're done. And then you do the same thing on the other side. Just like that. There we go. That's the end of that phase. Let's see what's next. All right, here are the pieces we'll need for the next phase. Doesn't look like much, but we're going to be accomplishing a lot here. First things first, we're going to bring this back out, and we're going to need 5 of these pieces. These are D12s. That peg on the back is going to go into those 5 holes there, just like that. So let me get the other 4 in. Here we go, just like that. And now we're going to take D6 here, and it's got those 3 pegs there, and they're going to go into these 3 holes here. There will be a slight curve, of course, so let's get those in carefully. All right, look at that. And now the fun really begins. Now, we're gonna bring this butt back out. This is gonna be fun. All right. First up, we're gonna take this side. It's got all these little pegs along the bottom here. And those little pegs are gonna go into these holes along the edge. So there will be a slight bend in them. Then you may notice these larger holes here and here. Well, that is where the bottoms of these are gonna go, okay? So those will go into those big holes. And then, once it's in, if you look real close, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little hole in the bottom of this. And we're gonna have to put a screw in. So there's gonna be 2 screws in here, and they're gonna come from here. So going that way, and then this one will go that way, okay? Let me go ahead and get this in. I'll show you what the final product looks like. All right, there we go, fully in place. It gets a little tight around these little edges here. That's really going to be your biggest problem child, to be honest. And of course, trying to get enough pressure on this to push some of these tighter ones in without breaking the railing. You definitely want to make sure you're careful there, okay? And then, I don't know if that's showing up, but there's a little screw in there. And then another one right in there. And now that we've got this side on, we get to do it again for this side. So let me go ahead and get that in. All right, look at that. Spectacular. And now, on the back side, you can see we've got these 2 hooks. Well, that will go into these 2 slots right there. So it should just be a matter of pushing this in and down. All right, and there we go. Look at that. Very, very nice. All right, let's see what's next. All right, here are the pieces we need for the next phase. We're gonna start with D5, and you might notice a little hole right in the center of D5. That is where C35 will go. You can see a little hole in the center of that. And we are going to use one of the screws to hold it in place. Just like that. Then we're going to bring this back out. And these big slots on either side are going to go onto here, and it's going to push all the way up underneath this little roof here. So it should go like that. Coming back over to this side, you can see we've got these 6 little holes here. Well, guess what? We have D7. We got 12 of them, 6 on either side. So let's go ahead and plug those puppies in. All right, look at that. 6 on either side. And now we take D23, we got 2 of these. You can see there are 3 pegs and there are 3 holes. So, guess where they're going? All right, there we go. 1 on either side. Very nice. That ends that phase. Let's see what's next. All right, here's what we'll need for the next phase. We will kick things off with D27. You notice there are 3 pegs on the bottom of this. Well, there are 3 holes here, here, and here. And that is where these will go. Look at that beautiful railing. Gorgeous. All right. With that in place, we're going to come to the front of the ship. And we've got these 2 pegs here. Well, those are going to go right into these 2 holes in D24. And there's these little slots here. That's where these long arms are going to go. So let's get all this in there. All right, should look like that when you're done. This little separation and these little pegs should go together perfectly, with these hanging off the edge and those sticking out and through. Next is D26, and that's going to go on those same 2 pegs, just like that. And we're going to finish it off with C32. Same 2 pegs. Just like that. Absolutely spectacular. And now we're ready to move on to the next phase. Alrighty, here are the pieces that we will need for our next phase. We're going to kick things off with a little assembly. We're going to take C34B here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take D19, and in the leftmost slot, we're going to slide this puppy in on the top slot on the Seahorse. D17, same deal, but for the middle. And D21, same deal, but for the bottom. And with that in place, we're going to take C34A and we're going to put it over here on the right side of those pieces. All right, and there we go. Okay, now we're going to bring this out. We're going to take one of the D8s, and on this peg that's up here, we're going to put it through that hole. And then this little notch right there, that's going to go onto that tab right there. Should look like that when you're done. Do the same thing on the other side. Well, there's mine, but I have a feeling I might need some glue because this is not staying down. So I may have to glue this in. Let me see about that. I'll be right back. Okay, now that we've got a little glue in there and it's holding well, we can move on. We have D13 here, and what you want to do is take note of that center slot there. Okay, that will be facing forward on the ship, and it's going to go in this slot, and then you want to push it down. So we'll just push this through here and then push that slot down. There we go. Just like that. You'll notice there's a little bit of a gap at the top. And that is where another one of these E28s is going to come in and slide right in there. There we go. Right up in there. That was harder to get in than it seems, but it's in now. All right, now you notice there's a peg on either side. We're going to take, what is this, C45A. We'll go on the port side. And C45B will go on the starboard side. should look like that when you're done. And now you can take this assembly, and if you'll notice, there are the 3 slots in the center and 3 slots right here. So this, make sure that the gold ones go on either side, and you just line it up, slot to slot to slot, all 3 of them, and push that in. And look at that. Spectacular. Absolutely gorgeous. Uh-oh, look at this. I'm thinking this one's gonna need some glue too. Ah. Oh well. We'll go ahead and get that done and get the pieces out for the next phase. Alrighty, it should be glued, and these are all the parts that we'll need for the next and final phase of step 7. You're going to need 2 of these. These are D20 and 2 D18s. And basically what's going to happen is you're going to take the slot here and the slot here, and you're going to put them together just like this. All right, and what you'll want, there's like little lines on one side, a printed side. Okay, you'll want those on opposite sides. But this printed side will be up. So the anchor will be printed up, and whatever this is, the printed side will be on opposite sides, so they look like this. Now, you've got Y1. Notice there are 2 different colors. You'll need 6 of the gold, 4 of the black, and Y2s. You'll need 10 of these. And it's fairly simple. You've got 2 pegs, 1 large, 1 small. You've got 2 holes, 1 large, 1 small, and you just put them together. So we're going to make 10 of these cannons. Again, 6 gold and 4 black. All right, now that we've got all of our assemblies done, we'll bring this back out. And if you take a look, there are 5 holes here and 5 on the other side. That is for the pegs here on the bottoms of our cannons. The outer ones will be black and the inner ones will be gold. Make sure the barrel of the cannon goes through the cannon holes. You do 1 here, just like that. Now you got to do it 9 more times. And there we go. Looks great, but it does beg the question, why aren't they all gold? Why only the 3 in the middle? And for that matter, these ones, why aren't they gold? I mean, when you pop them out, I mean, they look cool, but they'd look cooler if they were gold. Oh well. Anyway, moving on. There's a little hole right here and a little hole right here. And that is where the little peg on the bottom of this goes. So we'll put this one in first. So it should look like that. And we'll do the same on the other side. Just like that. And now what we're going to do is take these 2 slots on the bottom and we're going to slot them into our base. All right, and there it is. Look at that. Ready to stand. All right, so technically the next step would be step 8, and that would mean we begin building the masts and sails and stuff like that. Now, given that the last video on this, part 1, ran a bit over, and how much there is to do with all of that, I'm going to be honest, I don't think I can start it and actually finish it in this video. So, as it turns out, if you skip forward a bit, in step 12, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do before you start actually adding the masts in. So I don't know why this wasn't done as step 8, but that's fine. We will do it now, and then we'll call an end to the video, and in part 3 we'll take care of the mast sails and rigging. All right, to kick things off, you're going to take F36 here and 4 of these little F39s, and there's kind of a fat tab on the bottom, and then an angle on the outside, and a thinner tab on the inside. And in these 4 outer holes here, you're going to want to put that fatter tab in there, making sure that the upper tab is on the inside, like that. And you want to do it 3 more times. There we go, just like that. And with those 4 inner tabs there, you're going to want to take F9, and you can see the 4 holes that they will go in. And there you go. That is the assembly you want to make, and you want to do 3 of these. So we got to do it 2 more times. All right, now we've got 3 of these assemblies. What we're going to want to do is take C37 here and 2 of these little C36s, and those are going to go into the small holes in the center. This is kind of oblong shaped, so the thinner end will go inside that hole. About like that, so they're like halfway through. Now, what you'll do is take B5, we've got 2 of these, and you'll take the small end and push it in through the top all the way down. So you're left with an assembly that looks like this. Okay. Now what we're going to do is bring this puppy back out. And the first thing we're going to do is take these assemblies. Now, here, here, and here you'll see little cross-shaped holes. And on either side there are very, very small holes. Well, these small holes on the edge will line up with these small holes, and then we're going to use screws through them to hold it in place. All right, there's 1 done, and now we do it 2 more times. All right, there you go. All 3 are in place. Now up here, you'll see a big hole here and then 2 small holes on either side. Those 2 small holes, I have no idea what the big hole is for, but the 2 small holes are for these 2 pegs here. So let's go ahead and get those in. There you go, just like that. Now, coming over here, you see these two holes right here? That is for F31. F31 would be this piece here, and it'll be these two pegs on the rear that'll go in there. Just like that. Then you've got one more hole right here, and that will be for F32. Again, that little peg there will go in to that hole. There we go. Just like that. Right there. Now, we're going to take F34 here. These two pegs on the bottom, those will go into these two holes right here. Just like that. And now we've got three more holes right here. And that is for F35 here. And you'll want this solid piece on the aft of the ship printed side out. Notice it is not printed on both sides, so make sure you use the right one. Perfect, just like that. And now we'll repeat everything we just did on the other side. All of the part numbers are the same. And there we go. And that, my friends, is as far as we can take it today. But look at this. We've got all of this added detail to the front of the ship. We've got a foredeck here. We've got our mast supports in. We've got our cannons on the top deck. It's finally officially on the base now. We've got all of this siding, and we've finished off all of this area here. And of course, everything here as well. Not to mention the rear of the ship. This is awesome. I am absolutely loving this build. If you like the video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Have a great day.